Hey now. You're watching an all new episode of the Uneeda Horror Podcast. And we've got Nick.
Yes, we've got Nick. How's it
Nick,
going?
dude, it's going good. It's going good. You wanna tell the people what you did today? What you were telling me before?
Yeah, guys, I went to Halloween City, and by the time you guys watch this, that video will be up on my channel, so you guys have probably already seen what I got. And the crown jewel is the Michael Myers Trick or Treat Studios ornament. Can't wait to prominently display that right in the dead center of my Christmas tree. They had a lot of really cool Halloween stuff, and by that I mean Michael Myers. I mean, their selection absolutely destroyed Spirit's Halloween section. There was so much there. I got a scene setter for my wall, a 5-foot tall Myers. They have life-size cutouts there too, and they're $30. They had Freddy, they had Pinhead, they had Pennywise, Chucky, Michael, $30. So it was cool.
Nice. I don't have a well, I have a tiny Halloween City. There's a store called Ellis, and it's like this outdoorsy type store, and they have Halloween Express there, and it's literally just
Oh
a
yeah,
mask section. So, but I have a Party City, which is the same thing. So maybe I'll have some of that stuff there. I know they'll have the cups because I've gotten the cups from there. I got a Freddy versus Jason cup last year and a Halloween 2 cup last year from there, and they were the same exact style as that.
is the Freddy versus Jason one the one? It's just like the movie poster.
Yeah,
I got that one tonight too. I got it from my brother though. He was with me, and he was like, "Will you buy me this?" It was $2. I was like, "Yeah, I'll buy it, whatever." So yeah, I got that one tonight too. But yeah, it was. I was surprised, man. Last time I'd been to Halloween City was probably like 5 years ago, and I remembered it being not very good. So I was like, "I'll check this one out." It's still lacking in the decor department, but they do great with their masks. And they had some really cool licensed material. So I thought it was cool.
yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I'm gonna go there this weekend. Hoping I'll get lucky with some Killer Clown stuff this weekend. I'm seeing people actually posting about some of the stuff there now. I don't need much. I just want the little side stepper and the gun, so I can put the gun
I
in the
got
case. I want to be able to put the gun in the case with my clown, my real clown, and somehow shoehorn the little side stepper in there, or put him on my desk or something. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I've gotten all the mugs I think I've wanted. So I don't need much else from Spirit Halloween. I've gotten a lot of the stuff I've already wanted, which has been fairly light this year. But I've gotten good stuff. So they take care of me in the mug department, which is very important to me. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything trick or treat I want to get. I don't know. The fleece blanket's kind of cool. Um,
I like the I really like the animatronic Sam. I don't know how realistic that is to get it, but I really like it. I also really like the little Sam like greeter. I like that little dude. I thought that was cool. They got a cool selection of trick or treat at Spirit. They really do. Like there was some really cool stuff there. Some glasses, pillows, blankets. Like there's some nice little trinkets there for sure.
the greeter that you're talking about, is it the one it's like, is that a new thing where he's sitting down?
Yes. Yeah.
I heard those are going to be hard to come by at the
Oh,
stores.
I've got my last video. I think there were 3 at my store. I looked at it and I was like, I want that, but I didn't get it.
Did they have one displayed, or is it just the boxes?
Pretty sure they had one displayed and they had a few next to it. I'd have to go back and comb through my video, but yeah, there was some there. And I was so tempted to pull the trigger on it, but I was like, I can't. Like, I can't. I can, but I shouldn't. So I didn't do it. But yeah, it was cool. By the way, I guess we should say, when this drops, it's going to be October 1st. So happy October, guys.
Yeah, happy
We made it.
October.
We
So
made it.
hopefully by this time I've got my Killer Clown stuff,
Yes.
because we
Yes.
are recording this well in advance. Because Nick, you're going to be gone for a while. You can tell the people what you got going on, unless it's private.
No, I'll be on my honeymoon. You know, been a very, very stressful last couple months. Been very hectic, crazy. I definitely need the time away. So we wanted to make sure we had another episode in the can for you guys. That way, while I was gone, Christian can drop another one and not miss a beat, and then I can come back and we can do an episode the following week. So it made sense for both of us to do this movie. You guys had asked for it in a live chat. I think it was mentioned a couple weeks ago on a live Q&A that we did, and like everyone was like, yes, trick or treat, trick or treat. So I was like, let's do it, man. Let's drop it October 1st and really kind of kick off the Halloween season. I mean, it's 50 degrees here today in Ohio. I got my heat on in my house because it's going to get into the 40s tonight. So it's right around the corner.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being able to help do this for me and keep the show running on my channel. It means a lot. Um, yeah, today's the first day of fall as well, and it was 75 by my house. So I mean, when I go running tonight, I can't wait. It's gonna feel so good to go running tonight.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, man, it's nice.
But I guess go ahead.
I was just going to say, Christian was asking if we should do a live commentary on this. And if we had more time tonight, we probably would have. Both of us are things are a little hectic right now. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the resurrection commentary because we had a blast doing it. And it's definitely something we want to do more of.
Oh, I had a blast. I
Yeah,
had such
it was
fun
so
time.
fun, man. It was so fun. And the thumbnail alone, like, I hope that thumbnail just made you guys go, dude, I got to click on that. I got to click on that.
Oh
So,
yeah, I tested it with a few people, and I showed them the thumbnail, and they were like, "Oh my god!"
yeah. Yeah,
So
that thumbnail is money. So yeah. Hope you guys liked it, and we'll be doing some in October. We'll be doing probably some Uneeda episodes as just those kind of casual commentaries where we watch a movie for the season and we just kind of BS with each other the whole time. So
yeah, yeah, it's not. By this point, you've already seen it because this episode's already come. That episode's already come out. My version of a commentary is putting a movie on and shooting the breeze about 70-30. 70% talking about the movie, 30% just BSing. It's not just crapping on a movie the entire time. I don't like doing that. All right, guys, Trick or Treat. Just a little bit of a synopsis about the film. Trick or Treat is the 2007 American anthology horror comedy, which is what Wikipedia calls it. Written, directed by Michael Dougherty and produced by Bryan Singer. The film stars Dylan Baker, Rochelle Ates, however you say that, Anne Paquin, and Brian Cox. It relates 4 Halloween horror stories with a common element in them. Sam, a mysterious child trick-or-treater wearing a shabby orange footy pajama with a burlap sack over his head. The main character makes an appearance in each of the stories whenever one of the characters breaks a Halloween tradition. It's interesting to note it's described as a 2007 movie, but I don't
yes.
think anybody really saw the movie in 2007.
No, we didn't see it till 2009. And I remember I was going to say, like, right from the start, if we can, kind of just remember like our first memories of hearing about this movie, seeing some promotional art for it, whatever it may be, marketing. I remember when I saw Rob Zombie's Halloween in theaters, this trailer was attached to it. And I vividly remember in the trailer a shot of Sam crawling on the ceiling above Brian Cox, the old man, the bus driver. And it was from that like bit of the movie. And I remember going, that's creepy. Like, I want to see that movie. And then nothing, like, dead silence for a while in the movie. And I guess the problem was nobody would distribute it. I don't know if they didn't believe in it or what, but like it was a film festival movie. It did really well. And then they were like, all right, we're going to do an October 2007 release. And it didn't happen. It didn't come out until it came out on home media. I want to say '09 is when it came out.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
I remember seeing it at Best Buy. I was like, dude, that's that movie. Did that just not hit theaters? And it just didn't.
Yeah, so this is a little bit about that. Before that, I think I'm trying to remember the first time I heard about Trick or Treat. It had to be very subtle images or um
I
I don't
wonder if you got a trailer with Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I honestly can't remember.
Because I did. I remember it.
Yeah, I very well could have, but honestly, dude, I couldn't tell you. I just really couldn't tell you. It's been so long. I um I remember the first time I bought the movie was 2010. Um I remember going there's now these stores may be regional. I don't know if you have them up there. They're kind of like smaller department stores, kind of overstock style. They're called Fred's. Maybe you've heard of Fred's.
I have not.
They're kind of like a Big Lots. You have a Big
Okay.
Lots.
Yeah.
They're just like a Big Lots basically. And they have a DVD. They had a DVD section, and I remember I saw one of the Friday the 13th collections there one time. It was an overstocked item, and all their movies were overstock items. And I remember seeing Trick or Treat on DVD there, and this was like 2010, so it was a year after the movie came out. And that was the first time I bought the movie and watched it. And from the very first time watching it, I was like, "Where has this been all my life?"
Yeah.
But I thought the movie was brand new when I got it there, even though it came from Fred's. But this is what it says on the release. It says that the first public screening took place at Harry Knowles Butt Numathon Film Festival in Austin, Texas on December 9th, 2007. Subsequent screenings included the Stages Film Festival on October 7th, 2008, the 2008 Screamfest Horror Film Festival on October 10th, 2008, a free screening in New York sponsored by Fangoria on October 13th, 2008, and another free screening in Los Angeles sponsored by Ain't It Cool News and Legendary Pictures on October 23rd, 2008. The film also screened at the 2009 San Diego Comic-Con International Fantasia Festival on July 29th and 30th, 2009. The film festival Terror in the Isles 2 in Chicago on August 15th, 2009, and the After Dark Film Festival in Toronto on October 20th, 2009 at the Bloor. And then it says the home media, Warner Brothers Pictures and Legendary Pictures released the film direct to DVD and Blu-ray in North America on October 6, 2009, in the UK on October 26, in Australia on the 28th. Then Shout Factory released this collector's edition on October 8th, 2018, with all the extras from the previous with new content. On that Blu-ray, I recall Michael Dougherty saying that, one of the Warner executives really liked the the script and all, and they put a pretty hefty profit into the budget. It's around $12 million for the budget, and when the movie was done, they just kept getting cold feet on putting the movie out. They just didn't, because it's a horror anthology, especially going, even at that point, I can't recall how many horror anthologies there were. They were popular in the 80s, sure, and they some good ones in the 90s, but by 2006, 7, I can't recall any from that time really. So he described it as Warner Brothers not thinking the movie was bad, but genuinely just constantly getting cold feet on putting it out because they just thought this doesn't really fit our bill, you know.
Yeah, and it's funny now in retrospect to look at it 10 years later. I mean, look at us now. I mean, look at Christian right there. Look at his little guy right next to him. I mean, if you guys have been to a Spirit this year or any year over the past 10 years, but especially this year, Trick or Treat is like prominently featured. Like it's become synonymous with the holiday, like the movie Halloween has. And I think they were really shocked by that. I really do. I don't think Michael was, because I think he believed in the movie. And then I remember a few years ago, I think it was 2015, 2016, Legendary had a panel at some event, and they announced Trick or Treat 2. And Michael was there, and executives from Warner Brothers and Legendary were there. They like officially announced they were doing it. And we haven't gotten word on it since. But I think they realized.
When was this?
I want to say it was October of 15 or 16. I'm sure you could Google it and it would bring up what event it was, but I watched it. I remember watching it. He came out on stage and they had this backdrop and it said Trick or Treat 2. And they like officially announced it. And, he was just talking about how he was really excited and he had tons of ideas over the years for a follow-up to it. Wouldn't necessarily tie in with the previous movie at all, except it was just going to be Sam with new stories. Did you find it?
I found some information.
Okay.
It says Michael Dougherty announced in October 2009 that he was planning a sequel, but he later stated that there were no, quotes, no active development nor an attempt at a pitch. A sequel was announced in October 2013, but there was a change in Legendary's management, and Dougherty continued to express interest in a sequel, but said the film would stand on its own. So
it was 2013 then. Yeah. God, it didn't seem like it was that long ago. Holy crap.
Time flies.
But they had this whole event, man. I remember the backdrop, the screen on the stage. It said Trick or Treat, and it had a 2 right next to it. And Michael Daugherty was on the stage talking about it to a crowd, and he was like, "We're doing it." And I was hyped. And then nothing.
No, I would love to see a part 2 if it's gonna be like that. I for the longest time, I would tell myself I don't want a sequel, but if the way he's describing it sounds good to me. Like if he's making it stand on its own and have all new characters, and I guess it's just gonna be Sam. That's the
Yes.
same thing. Like I'm down with that. I'm totally
Sam
down
is
with
the
that.
only common link, and that's cool.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of go piece by piece with this movie and talk about our favorite segments and favorite parts of the movie. Uh, and speaking of favorite parts, here's the tiniest plot synopsis to kind of set the stage for us. This film takes place over the course of Halloween in the fictional town of Warren Valley, Ohio. It is a story told in a non-linear narrative with characters crossing paths with each other throughout the film. At the center of the story is Sam, a peculiar trick-or-treater dressed in pajamas and a burlap sack who appears to enforce the rules of Halloween. Now, Warren Valley, as you stated, is a fictional town based off of Warren County, right?
Yes, which is where I lived like my entire life.
And how exaggerated was the Halloween look of the town in the movie?
It really wasn't. And I've honestly always thought about doing a video, and I think I might this October, going to my old stomping grounds and kind of showing everybody what the area that Trick or Treat was based off of actually looks like in the fall, because it is very, the movie comes across as very Midwestern, like it's suburbia, it's cold weather, it's leaves, it's Halloween decorations. Like it was pretty on par with what I was used to. The only thing was that festival. There was never anything like that I can recall. I could be totally wrong. I mean, I never went to it, but I don't think it was very exaggerated. I really don't.
I'm so jealous, dude. Louisiana, we ain't got well, not where I live. I mean, in New Orleans, we had House of Shock, which was like a haunted house, like a haunted attraction, and it was brutal. And
Well,
one
I'm
of the
sure you've seen Foy's. You've heard about Foy's, and Piz Owl did a video there. That's 20 minutes from my house. So
right,
I've been there multiple times. I'll actually be doing a video this October at Foy's as well.
you need
So
to hit a Pizzle up if he goes there again. You could try to.
I messaged him about it, and he was like, "That'd be cool, man." Like, and I was like, that's something that seriously I think would be really cool to be like, "Oh, hey, you're at Foy's. I'm at Foy's.
Yeah,
what are the chances?" But yeah, Foy's is awesome, and he hasn't been in there in October, so he doesn't really know how all out that town goes. But this is relevant because Foy's and that little town, it is like eerily reminiscent of Trick or Treat in October. Like you walk on that street, on those streets, and they do a festival in the street the week of Halloween. Like it's crazy.
wow, that sounds great. Yeah, man, I can't. I don't have nothing like that.
Well,
Nothing.
they also have a Freddy's Revenge pinball machine in there that I think I've told you about.
I've, I know it. It's made by Gottlieb.
I don't know if it's for sale. I think it is, but it's got to be quite a bit of money. The thing looks so cool.
Yeah, well, they go for a pretty penny. I've tried. My uncle has a pinball machine. He has the original Kiss pinball machine from I think
Oh,
'81 or two,
yep.
and he had it restored. There's a place in Mandeville down south that does repairs and stuff, and he took me there one time. We had to drop off his Kiss pinball machine, and I went in there, and the guy had a number of them for sale, and he had the Freddy one. My jaw hit the floor.
Yeah.
Um, I wanted it so bad, and I think he was asking like 3 grand for it. So because it was from '94, I think, and it was in perfect working condition. Everything was original on it, and it was in, I would say, 7 out of 10 shape. So it was in really good shape, and those things ain't cheap.
No.
They're not cheap. I wanted to see if I could just buy the marquee, which is basically the front art piece that you
Yep.
can pull off. That he wouldn't sell me the marquee. He's like, man, that would cut the value of this thing. I can't
Oh
just sell you
yeah.
that.
But yeah, so it wasn't exaggerated at all, guys. If you've ever been to Warren County, Ohio, or really anywhere just in like southern Ohio, in the fall, it's just like that.
Hmm. All right, so let's get into it. The opening of the film. In the opening scene, Emma and her Halloween-loving husband Henry return home after a celebratory night. Emma blows out their jack-o'-lantern before midnight, which Henry advises against tradition. While Henry takes a rest in the house, Emma begins tearing down the front lawn decorations when she is suddenly ambushed and murdered by an unseen assailant. Henry later discovers her mutilated corpse on display with the decorations. Opening scene is one of my favorites in the entire movie.
Just oozes atmosphere. Oozes it. I mean, from the very beginning. But I will say, what person takes down their decorations on Halloween night? Uh,
Somebody that hates Halloween. That's it.
yeah, it's sacrilegious.
That's why she died. That's why
Yeah.
she died. Uh, I loved the look of the town too. I mean, I mean, it rivals. This one rivals, Halloween 6 for like how much it feels like Halloween. It may even be a little bit more. I mean, because
That's yeah. That's
trick or
what I was
treat.
gonna say. I think
Yeah,
it's the most Halloween, the most atmospheric
yeah.
Halloween movie I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how atmosphere is, and I love the look when the boyfriend comes down. I think he put his porno VHS in the
Yeah.
TV, and he comes outside, and the look of her with her mouth all stretched out with the lollipop. Loved it,
And you
loved
get
it.
that great comic book intro after that. I love that comic book intro.
Oh man, oh man. Yeah, the intro's great. Loved it, loved it. Love the score too. Really cool, some cool music. Bum 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 bum
Hmm.
bum. It sticks in your head after you hear it.
I also
Um,
love the na, 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 na. Yeah, oh,
yeah,
it's so good.
I think I can't remember if it was Death Waltz or Waxwork, but I have Trick or Treat on vinyl, and the vinyl looks like the lollipop.
Oh
And
man.
yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I bought it years ago too. But then we get to the next part, which is probably my second favorite part. The beginning of this movie I love so much, but I love a lot of it. Charlie, an overweight vandal, who is Thurman Merman from Bad
Bad
Santa.
Santa. Yeah.
One of my favorite comedies. Very very well could be top 5 of my favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah.
Thurman Merman. I love I love that movie so much. Thurman Merman. Excuse me, Charlie. Screw it. We'll call him Thurman Merman. Thurman Merman, an overweight vandal who smashes jack-o'-lanterns, is caught stealing candy from an unattended bowl left by his school principal, Stephen Wilkins. Charlie begins to project vomit. I'm going to call him Charlie, no more Thurman. And Wilkins reveals that he laced the candy with poison. While attempting to cover up Charlie's death, he ends up handing out more laced candy to trick-or-treaters, including Sam. Wilkins works burying bodies. Wilkins' work burying bodies in his backyard is continually interrupted by his young, annoying as shit son, Billy. I added that. It's not in Wikipedia. And his elderly neighbor, Mr. Krieg, an angry recluse who lives next door. When Wilkins returns indoors, something can be seen attacking Krieg through the window. Wilkins' son jumps out and scares him. Wilkins tells Billy it's time to carve the jack-o'-lantern and guides him downstairs. Hiding a knife behind his back, Wilkins appears to stab Billy, but Billy is shown to be okay, and it is revealed that the knife was plunged into Charlie's severed head, the jack-o'-lantern that they are about to carve. So that's a great segment too. Um, I love and hate seeing Thurman Merman knock over the jack-o'-lanterns because that is like painful. Because I think jack-o'-lanterns are beautiful works
Yes.
of art, you know. And he's just, dude, one by one, just
He just
knocking them
doesn't
all
care.
over.
Yeah. That scene also, that whole segment gives us some of the best lines in the movie, in my opinion. Like I love like the reaction back and forth, the interaction. Brian Cox, well, not Brian Cox. Yeah, that is Brian Cox, isn't it? No, Brian Cox is Mr. Krieg.
Yeah, Brian Cox is Mr. Krieg.
Dylan,
Dylan Baker is Principal Stephen
yes,
Wilkins.
Dylan Baker. So Dylan Baker is one of the best parts about this movie. Like I love when, he's talking to his kid and his kid's like, Charlie Brown's an asshole. And he's like, Billy Wilkins. And then like when he's talking to Mr. Krieg and that whole dialogue of like, is that what that smell is? Stinks like a dead whore out here. He's like, Happy Halloween. Screw you. Like
Yeah.
I just it's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
I love that. I love that whole segment. The CGI throw up that Thurman Merman does is disgusting, and it's like
Yes.
way. I would say it's too long, but I don't think that's really the case. I think it was by design to do that because of the comic book,
Oh yeah.
anthology feel. But dude, he looked like a water fountain.
He was hacking, man. And it's weird because like outside when he starts, it almost looks brown, like it's chocolate. And then when you see him carrying him inside, it's like blood. It's
Blood.
red. So I don't know if it was just because of the lighting or what it was, but at first, yeah. And I also just love how much of a dick he is about it. He's like, "You okay? You need a root beer?" And he's like laughing about it. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah. This is totally off topic, but when you said talking about the blood and chocolate, that reminded me. I think there was a movie called Blood and Chocolate, and it was some kind of vampire movie. Anyway, great segment. I love it. But then we're gonna move on to the Halloween. Oh, the segments are kind of laid out in this, you know, to try to individualize it. But I know that before we get to the school bus, we see uh the girls go into the costume store, which is absolutely packed
Yes.
in the movie. I mean, dude, there were so many people in that damn store. And there was that funny segment where the girls are trying to change in the dressing room, and there's a little young pervy kid
Yeah.
staring in there, and the mom catches him, and the mom's yelling at the girls like because they're talking, they're being young adolescent girls back there, but like why is she not getting on her kid
Yeah.
who's being a peeping tom?
Yo, there are children out here, ladies. Yeah, and your child happened to be trying to peep on us. Like, who's the bad guy here? I don't know. By the way, I just want to say, guys, that is very realistic for how packed that store was. Go to a Spirit Halloween the Saturday before Halloween or Halloween evening right before trick or treat starts. Place is insane. So people getting last minute costumes because you know us, we all love to wait until the last minute. But
Hmm. Uh, so here we go. Let me read this thing right here. The Halloween School Bus Massacre. A group of trick or treaters, Macy, Sarah, Chip, and Schrader, meet Rhonda, a Halloween fanatic said to be a savant. The group travels to a local flooded quarry where Macy recalls the urban legend of this is my favorite segment. The urban legend of the Halloween School Bus Massacre, which claimed the lives of 8 children with disabilities in a school bus on Halloween. The driver, who had been paid by the worn out parents to dispose of them, this is so fucked up, sent the bus over the quarry edge with the children shackled inside. The children perished, and the driver was never heard from again. Macy announces they will leave 8 jack-lanterns by the lake as tribute to the dead children. The group then possess as the undead kids to prank a terrified Rhonda. Rhonda stays at the elevator while the group cleans up their props. Macy ends up kicking one of the lanterns into the quarry, causing the real zombie children to appear. The group flees to the elevator, begging Rhonda to let them in. Rhonda, however, takes the elevator up without them and quietly walks home as she overhears a screaming group being torn apart and eaten. She briefly encounters Sam while leaving, and I love the way this is worded, and the two exchange a respectful glance.
yes.
I love the old school vibes of the school bus. My wife is constantly whispering this to me. She'll say, "Wrong way,
Oh my God. Yeah.
wrong way."
Wrong way. Wrong way.
I love
Home.
the look. They put out. I think I might have shown you this. I bought a coffee mug. It's a travel mug,
Yeah.
thermal,
And
and
it's
they
got
put.
all the kids in front of the school bus. Yep.
I saw that the first time with Spirit, and my wife goes, "Christian, look at this," and I went, oh, "Mine."
Yep.
That's mine. That's mine. But I love the look of the kids in this. The vampire mask that the Wrong Way kid has on. Just a great looking scene. Very, very folklorish about, I just love the tale of the worn out parents paying the bus driver to kill the kids. That's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah. And I will say too, I really always felt bad for Rhonda. Like every time I watch it, they're so mean to her. And it's just like, I guess a lot of us horror fans can identify with her because like a lot of people in the that aren't in our inner circle probably do think we're weird. But she just loves the holiday, man. Like she's all about it, and they're just really mean to her. So when she's going up in that elevator, not at one point was I ever like, oh no, save him. I was like, yeah, dude, screw you guys.
Hmm.
I'm going ham. Like,
Yeah. But that's probably my favorite part of the movie. I mean, I love the opening, and then I love seeing the principal with his annoying ass kid.
can we
And
talk about those shots when in the flashback when they're on the bus? How it's just orange. It's amazing.
oh
Like,
yeah, yeah, that's my favorite. That's literally
oh
my favorite part.
yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about atmosphere. I mean, the first shot and they show you in the flashback when the bus is coming up to the stop sign and the camera's panning down to the street, and it's just like it looks like they saturated the shit out of that with just orange.
yeah,
Like, looks amazing.
yeah. Oh, it's great, man. It's great. That's my favorite segment, without question. And then we get to the next era. if you will. The surprise party. Lori, a self-conscious young woman, arrives in town with her sister Danielle and her friends Maria and Jeanette. They pick up dates, save Lori, who wants her first time to be special, uh, and declines their invitation for a get together to enjoy the town festival instead. Lori encounters a hooded serial killer dressed as a vampire who attacks her. At a bonfire, Lori's friend witnessed the man, now severely injured, falling out of a tree and unmasked him, revealing to be Principal Wilkins, which did surprise the hell out of me the first time I watched it.
Yeah, same.
Lori appears, having decided to join them for this occasion, and the girls transform into werewolves, devouring Wilkins and their deceased dates. Sam witnesses the feast. Being a lover of the werewolf, I was happy about this because they destroyed the vampire. I'm a werewolf mark. I love the Howling and American Werewolf and all that. So I loved that just from the aspect of that the werewolves were the dominant type. And I love that they trick you into thinking, it's all about sex. But no, they're talking about turning into a wolf. And the Sweet Dreams Manson
Oh,
song.
yeah. Perfect placement. And let's also talk about those practical effects. Those transformations into werewolves is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I would say it's pretty underrated in terms of transformation scenes in horror. Naturally, it doesn't get talked about, not because I don't think people don't appreciate it, but it's an anthology movie, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But certainly is great. The werewolf parts of this, the werewolf section in Trick or Treat. I love the bonfire. Just very, again, the aesthetic is through the roof. No expense was spared, it seemed, to make this film feel just immensely. Not only does it feel like Halloween, it feels like Halloween at like 10 o'clock at night.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like right in the red zone, the core of Halloween. But I was shocked when I found out that Principal Wilkins was the vampire. I don't know why. Like that didn't when he had the Batman looking thing over his face. That just did not look like him to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's no, I totally agree. And one thing that the synopsis didn't cover was the scene that, well, I want to say really quick at the bonfire, the scene where they're all eating and Sam is sitting there watching. The shot you get of Sam sitting on the tree stump with the moon behind him is a gorgeous shot. I've always loved that shot. And then you get the howls.
Oh man.
Um, but the scene before that, when Principal Wilkins literally kills that woman, and since everyone's dressed up and everyone's drunk, he just sets her dead body along like the sidewalk and no one thinks anything of it. And I always thought that was so creepy because I'm like, dude, you probably could get away with that in that
Yeah.
environment.
Oh yeah, especially how packed everything was in that
Yeah.
town and everything, dude. Oh man, that's great stuff. As we move along the movie, we get to the Sam era of the film, or the Sam portion, and um, I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, Sam is the coolest character. Sam, of course, his name is short for Samhain or Sam Hain, which makes total sense. I don't know why I didn't realize that the first time I watched it, but then I read it somewhere. I was like, the character Sam's name is short for Sam Hain, which means Halloween. I was like, oh, of course. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Krieg, Wilkins' Halloween hating neighbor, scares away trick or treaters at his door to steal their candy. As the night proceeds, Krieg begins to encounter escalating phenomena. Someone eggs his window. His lawn is inexplicably filled with jack o' lanterns, which I love that. And his
Yes.
hallways and ceiling are painted with bloody Halloween greetings. Krieg is suddenly ambushed by Sam, and a lengthy brawl ensues, during which Sam loses his mask and revealed to be a demonic looking pumpkin headed child. Sam's supernatural abilities cause him to continually have the upper hand, and he eventually moves in to deliver the killing blow to Krieg. However, Sam winds up stabbing a chocolate bar that had landed in Krieg's lap by mistake, which he takes and eats. This makes Krieg complete the tradition of handing out candy on Halloween. Satisfied, Sam spares a confused Krieg and gives him one last glance of warning before leaving. Photographs in the fireplace reveal Krieg to be the bus driver that killed the 8 children. Wow, so well tied together. First thing I'll say is one of the only times, one of the few times, I wouldn't say only, but one of the few times I could think of, Jason in part 2. I really like the look when they pulled the bag off of his head. Jason part 7 as another example, but Trick or Treat may be the best example of what's underneath is just as cool as what was, above. Like the Sam face, the demonic pumpkin look Man, I loved it. I whenever I find merch that is the face, I love to get that. As a matter of fact, a lot of people who buy that animatronic from Spirit pull the bag off because Sam's
Yeah,
head is so cool looking. You
yeah,
know, my little Mezco mega scale. I had to pull the mask off of him because I love the look of him.
yeah. It was really impressive. And I remember when I first saw it, I legitimately, when I was telling my buddy Tommy about the movie, and I brought it over to their house once when I was a teenager watching, I was like, dude, you're not ready for this. You are not ready for this mask to come off. Like, you have no idea what you're looking at. And I also think it's really cool that, like, every time he is shot or injured, pumpkin seeds and guts and everything come out. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Look at that ugly little.
But yeah, the pumpkin face is just as cool, if not cooler. So this is the Mezco Mega Scale. If anybody's interested in this, I think he's still available. He came out about 4 years ago. But yeah, Little Sam is way too cool. Um, and the Krieg story was great. I remember when you find out that he was the bus driver. I mean, I was just like, brilliant. And that's
Yeah.
why he's so bitter. He doesn't want to be reminded of Halloween. He doesn't like he knows what he did. I just love that. This is as close to a perfect Halloween movie as possible. I really can understand why Warner Brothers got cold feet. I mean, in retrospect, because the movie's great, but like you think about releasing that, it's at the time, dude, it was all about your Batman movies were coming out and it was all big horror remakes at the time. So I think they just were like, where do we how does this fit into our portfolio right now? And I just don't think it did. So that's why they inevitably just ate the cost more or less and just put it out on, which I'm sure they recouped their money on DVD sales.
By now, it's not just, yeah, and now merch and all that stuff. They've
Oh, they made
probably,
a fortune on licensing.
yeah,
Fortune.
yep. I mean, a sequel. I mean, I'm sure it's already paid for four more sequels. If we're being totally honest, like it is, it's a movie that I think, like, for me personally, it's a staple. And it was from the very first time I saw it. I just love this movie so much, and I'm so glad that we got to see it eventually, because I was worried after I don't see anything after 2007. Like, is that movie never going to come out? Um, but yeah, man, it's from the first go around, I knew this movie was the real deal.
And I'm thinking about it now. It's like Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures. There's no doubt in my mind that if there's no doubt in my mind that they know that the time is probably right to do a sequel because of all the licensing that they've gotten from Spirit and everything, and I'm sure that they've taken notice at the sales of everything. You'd have to be living under six rocks to not
Yeah,
know that there's a massive fan base for this movie right now. I mean, it just it
that's
if they were
insane.
yeah, it just
I
seems
just
like now's the time.
Yeah, and I think too that uh, Michael has, like, as a director, has really put his cemented himself. I guess is he's a guy that works really well with monsters. First is Sam, then he tackled Krampus, and then he tackled Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Yeah, and that's crazy to think about that he did King of the Monsters. I forget
Yeah,
that
which is a
Michael did those
fantastic
films.
movie.
Yeah. The last part about the movie right here, it says the conclusion. Later, Krieg begins giving out candy to children before gazing at the neighborhood. He witnessed Rhonda casually pulling her pumpkin cart along. He sees Billy handing out treats to other kids. While wearing a costume resembling his father's outfit, he observes Lori, her sister. Coincidence there? And her friends driving along
Yeah,
the road while having a good time. He catches sight of Sam watching Emma and Henry returning home, with him going to exact punishment when Emma blows out the jack-o'-lantern. He returns inside only to receive a knock at the door. Krieg opens it, revealing the resurrected children waiting for him. The final shots of the film show Krieg being dismembered, the children having gotten their vengeance. Just like very of a dark folk tale. The way that with the children tying in, man, I just love that.
yeah. I also thought from the very first time I saw it, it was really cool how we didn't know when we were first watching it that was the end, and how every single story is going to intersect there right at the end. Like, unsuspectingly, you're like, holy crap, what we saw at the very beginning of the movie is like the last shot of the movie. And it was kind of a bummer to see him die. I mean, he deserved it after what he did to the kids, but he had kind of turned a new leaf, and you were like, okay, this guy appreciates the holiday now. He's a nice guy now. And it's like, well, yeah, but he did kill 8 kids, so
Yeah, if it was 7 kids, he might have,
yeah, they might have let it slide, but 8, nope.
Oh man. So let's see some of the aftermath of Trick or Treat. The reception. It says that on Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 83% based on 29 reviews, with an average rating of 7.5 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, a deftly crafted tribute to Halloween legends. Trick or Treat hits all the genre marks with gusto and old-fashioned suspense. Dread Central gives it a 5 out of 5. Ranks alongside John Carpenter's Halloween as traditional October viewing, and I can't imagine a single horror fan that wouldn't fall head over heels in love with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I know anybody that doesn't love Trick or. I don't think I know anybody that doesn't love Trick or Treat.
I haven't showed it to a single person that didn't like it. I even showed it to my mom years ago, and she is like all old school, She doesn't like many modern horror movies, and she was like, that was good. I'm like, yeah, man.
Mm.
Speaks the language.
It says that Trick or Treat was filmed on location in Vancouver, British Columbia, originally slated for October 5th. Oh, we already talked about the release, but so it wasn't actually filmed in Ohio. That's a bummer. I don't know if there were other places. It just says, I guess if it means filmed on location in Vancouver, British Columbia, I'm assuming that's where the whole movie was
Yeah.
shot then.
Yep. And I could be wrong, but I believe I did see an interview one time with the director Michael Doherty, and he said the whole thing was filmed in BC.
Yeah.
So and I think it was actually not a very long shoot either. Very reminiscent of the original Halloween. I don't think it's really cool to see how similar these movies are in the sense that they've both become staples in October. They've both become synonymous with the holiday. They both had a delayed love fest for them. Like, they first come out and people, whatever. And then as time has gone on, it just gets more and more and more popular. They were both quick shoots. There's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah. It is crazy to see how the film just is constantly growing and it's only organic. I mean, you can't say that Spirit Halloween's merchandise made it more popular than it already is. I do feel we're at a fever pitch for the movie, but I mean, with it, when you go to watch a movie during Halloween time, naturally this movie is just gonna from the title alone, it sets itself up to be like, hey, you need to watch me Trick or Treat, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming the reason I would assume that they wanted to call the movie Trick or Treat, but because there was already an 80s movie called that's why they called it Trick or Treat. It doesn't bother me, but I want Michael Doherty never talked about that, but it works. Well, I don't care, but
Yeah.
it's a movie that, yeah, dude, it is very similar to Halloween in terms of how it's just, dude, it's like a germ that just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and all we do is keep feeding it.
Well, like you said, I mean, I think they'd have to be idiotic to not see that right now is the time to strike if you were going to make another one. Like, there is no better time than right now to come out October 1st and say, this fall we are beginning production on a sequel to Trick or Treat that'll be released in October of 2022. Like, there's no better time than now. Now I know, the director he's definitely started to make a name for himself, and he's definitely a busier guy now, but he has talked about ad nauseum. Trick or Treat is a movie he will always be down to go back and revisit and expand upon that lore. Like, that's his child, so to speak. And I don't know if you did you read the comic Trick or Treat Days of the Dead?
I never read the comic. I saw that on Wikipedia, but I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at it on my shelf right now. I have read it in at the time. This was before they even like really talked about an idea for a feature length sequel. It's the unofficial sequel to the film. But now that that's been out, and it was written by him as well, and but now that that's been out, he has been on record as saying, no, if we do a second one, I'm not going to just make Days of the Dead, feature length. I would do something different. That was just basically put out to be, what would you say, the to bridge the gap,
Yeah,
basically, and because he was hoping Legendary one day would allow him to do a sequel, so he was like, let me do this to bridge the gap, and then here we are. Shit, I mean, if technically '07 was when it was first released, we're almost 15 years ago
it's
and still
crazy.
nothing.
I mean, what do you before we wind down on this? What do you think it is? Why they haven't done one? I really scratched my head.
I think I think it's I think there's a lot of reasons, but personally, I think the biggest reasons are one, it's still the same questions you had with the first movie. Yes, there is a cult following, and yes, there are a lot of fans of it. But is it a movie that you can really market to a casual audience, especially if it's technically being billed as a sequel? Because a lot of casual horror fans might be like, two? I've never seen one. So I think the marketability of it, although I don't agree with it, I can see from their standpoint why they might be like, well, we could be a little hamstrung by the marketing because it's a very niche group that you're tapping into. I mean, you're literally tapping into people that just love the holiday Halloween. There's a lot of us, but so there's that. And then it's probably also partly to do with, Michael Dougherty and what he's gone on to do, and scheduling might be an issue. But I know story's not an issue because he has said I believe he's on record as saying that he has like a notebook of just a bunch of anthology ideas that would involve Sam.
Mm,
So I know the story's not an issue.
yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're probably right. I think it's exactly the same thing as the hesitancy to release it theatrically worldwide is just cold feet and wondering, is there really enough people out there that would support? I don't think theatrically would be the way to go. I would think streaming would be the way to probably do it if they can secure some kind of deal with a network. Um, Granted, I would love to be able to go see Trick or Treat 2 in the theaters, but I don't see that being the route they would want to take it. I would think, put out a Blu-ray for it and go to a streaming site would make sense and have a decent little budget for it. Um, and let Michael do it. Cast who he wants to cast. I think it'd be silly to think it wouldn't be a profitable venture, but I can understand why they may not want to put money into something that they don't want to release theatrically. It's hard to say, man. I can only speculate, but I think it could be a lot of the same reasons.
Yes, I do think that that is the probably the biggest hurdle. And look, I mean, I think that you could put this movie out with a $15 million budget and make if you did it, like theatrically released. I think you could make that back for sure. Um, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad to think about.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to look back at this podcast and be like, "Hey, we thought they weren't going to do it, and they'll do it." I guarantee it'll come out of nowhere when they finally announce it again. So
Yeah.
we can hope. But the Trick or Treat is a staple. It's a classic. Not a very long show, but not everything needs to be 2 hours. So I had a
Yeah,
good time.
lately our episodes have been, we've definitely gone longer recently, but we have a few episodes that are only about an hour long. It's
Yeah.
just depending on the topic. It's an 80-minute movie. We could talk all day about every little minute detail we love about it, but
Mhm.
you know,
But yeah, Trick or Treat, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, going over the film. Please let us know your thoughts. Thank you for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, so you can see the video, or if you're Spotifying us or any streaming service that you use, hopefully by this point we'll start hitting the rest of them. I can't really tell you how quick we'll be on iTunes and all that. It's not really up to me. It's just when it gets approved and all that. But we are Spotify. The shows come out the same day as the YouTube, so you can pick your poison that way. But we love you guys. Happy October 1st. We'll be back. Should be back next week. And I'm
yes,
sure we'll have
I'm
some.
back October 4th, so we can film. like we normally would, middle of that week, and then drop it October 8th or whatever,
There we go. Yeah, we'll be back then, and I'm sure we'll have some great horror stuff by that point. I'm sure you'll be seeing us showing off the Halloween 4Ks and all that.
4Ks,
So
yes.
be ready. October will be fun, but we love you guys. Thank you for listening to the You Need a Horror podcast, and happy October. This has been a production of the You Need a Horror podcast. You need it, we got it. Thank you for listening.